All right.
Hey, this is Troy Taylor with the Championship Football Coaches Clinic podcast, sponsored by Rack Coach and Sports Workbook. Excited to get into the state of Kentucky. Coach Haddix is here. He's going to talk about their clinic. Coach Haddix, for all the coaches that are watching or will watch that don't know you, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself and where you coach, Coach.
I grew up in Eastern Kentucky. Went there, played on a high school team for a Hall of Fame coach and Mike Holcomb. Won a state championship as a senior as a player, and then blessed to go play at Western Kentucky under David Elson, and Willie Taggart was my position coach. Walt Wells, who's the head coach at Eastern Kentucky, was the O-line coach while I was there. Stu Holt was the running back coach while I was there. He's now at Virginia Tech. So I was very blessed to get a play, and I started all 4 years when I was at Western at quarterback. And so a lot of different coaches that I was able to see and be around. I got started into coaching, and I was 25 when I got my first head coaching job at a school in Hazard, Kentucky, in Eastern Kentucky. Won a couple playoff games there. They'd never won a playoff game before. And then I was there 4 years and went to Corbin High School and went state runner-up in 17 and 18. And then in 2020, I took the Boyle County job. And Boyle County has been known since 1999. They've won 11 state championships. So we were very blessed to win. We've won 3 in a row. So I've been here 3 years. We won 3 in a row.
Hey, there you go, man. Yeah.
And very blessed with a lot of great players, a lot of great coaches, and community support. So, and it takes all those things to win. So just finishing our 3rd year, and we're working every morning to get going, hopefully, for number 4.
Well, this is definitely a clinic you want to go to. I mean, the guy that's running this won 3 state championships, and I know a little bit about Hazard.
Yep.
I spent a week there one night. My dad's from Appalachia, and
Okay.
I think Hazard is pretty near nowhere, right?
Well, Breathitt County, where I grew up, is about 30 minutes from there. So,
right. So does it border Virginia? Is it near like Wise County and
yeah, it's probably about it's probably about an hour and a half. Letcher County is Letcher is right there around Virginia, so it's all right there with it. Whitesburg.
Whitesburg. I know Whitesburg. I had a guy named Ewok that I played with from Whitesburg. But, man, I do not know. I call it geometry. I thought that Rhode Island was next to Delaware. I was going to – I call it geometry. I didn't pay attention in geometry. So, Coach, Kentucky, that's a big state, man. I mean, I guess it's like 3 different types of states, you know. It's mountain,
we're
farmland.
I grew up in Eastern Kentucky and then went to Bowling Green, went to Western Kentucky, and then now I'm coaching in Central Kentucky. So I've kind of been all over except Northern Kentucky, really. But it's been a great state. I said Boyle County's in Class 4A. There's 6 classes in Kentucky. So they've won. There used to be a 4-class system. Now it's went to a 6-class system, and we've won the last 3 in Class 4A.
So you won 3 state championships in a row, and I the only thing that I've won or can hang my hat on is that I got Jim McNamee on Twitter. So, do you follow Coach McNamee? Did you know that Jim McNamee was on Twitter, Coach?
No, I did not know. I don't think I follow him. I follow quite a few people, but I didn't follow him.
Yeah, well, he's been on it for 4 weeks, and now he's up to 5,000 followers.
Hey, that's awesome.
Okay, so Coach Jim Tim is up in Rochester, New York, and he is a very loyal supporter of the clinic and a part of Totem Pole Nation. He's actually came on our show before. Who was the quarterback at the time of Western Kentucky? I think that was him.
Yeah,
he was the starter.
From 2003 to 2006.
Okay. So, Troy, you didn't know where South Carolina was. That is true. My friend had the state of North Carolina and had the name of his school. And I actually thought it was South Carolina. North Carolina looks like an upside down Virginia. Kentucky kind of looks like Virginia. Yeah. So, Coach, I'm an idiot. I mean, but I was smart enough to get you on.
Yeah.
All right. So right here, I don't know how people, if they can see that good or not, Coach. I think they can. Tell us a little bit about where the clinic is, how much it costs, and just the background information. How long y'all been doing this clinic, Coach?
Well, this is our second one, and we were sitting in the office, and COVID happened, and I told you before, I'm blessed with some really great assistant coaches. Some guys have been head coaches, some young guys that were good with Twitter and didn't care to reach out to people and talk. And I said, we were all talking, said we need to start a clinic. Nobody else does one in the state of Kentucky. They used to hold the Nike clinic up in Louisville, and then that kind of went away, and we're like, we could put on a clinic. Let's just try it. So we all got some head. Coach Travis Leffew is our athletic director and assistant principal, and he's our offensive line coach. Travis Burns is our defensive coordinator. He'd been here, when I took the job, those two guys had. And then I hired a guy, Jackson Arnett, who runs our weight room, and he'd been a head coach and been with me before. So us four just kind of said, well, let's start to work on it, see what we can do. So we got some sponsors. Whitaker Bank sponsored it the first year. And then Tim Short Auto Mall in Corbin, Kentucky is sponsored for us this year. So they kind of help us with the sponsorships. But we have it at the Embassy Suites in Lexington, the UK Coldstream in Lexington, Kentucky. So that kind of makes it we're in a bigger city where people are there. Costs $75. If you got 5 or more, we take it to $65. But we really got a lot of great speakers this year. And, the big thing, very blessed to know and have we've had some really good players. So I've been able to meet some really good coaches. And Mark Stoops is going to be our headliner for us at University of Kentucky, head coach. He's going to be our headliner.
Go ahead.
The first night at 7:30. And then the next day at lunch, we do another keynote speaker at 1:30. Walt Wells, the head coach at Eastern Kentucky. And then we have Jeff Brohm, the new head coach at University of Louisville, is coming on Saturday night. So we feel like we do 2 nights. We've got 3 different rooms going. A lot of the best head coaches. And one cool thing, what we did, and we were able to do it last year and do it this year, is we do a state championship panel. So all the head coaches that won Class 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A, 5A, 6A, we make like a Q&A panel, and we take questions. And so all the state championship head coaches are going to be there. And so we'll get a big room, and they can all ask questions. And that's been pretty neat the last 2 years that we were able to get all state championship head coaches there to speak.
Yeah, Coach. I like to go through each of these guys and tell me a little bit about their programs and what they're talking on. And, just Zach Tibbs, Coach. How do you know him, Coach?
He's on Twitter a lot, and, he was a young guy and somebody that I knew. He's actually from Pikeville, Kentucky.
Wow.
And I knew him. And he's kind of went around and been this. He's at Paul Lawrence Dunbar. He's the offensive coordinator. I think it's second year there being the offensive coordinator. But they're really up-tempo, and he's done a lot of different things on Twitter to get to know him. Great young guy, enjoys coaching football, and somebody that's always learning, and, just a buddy of mine. The next guy is Jim McKee. Jim McKee is the wing T person, and he's been around. He won a state championship at Scott County. Big time coach around, has done a lot of different clinics, and just a friend of mine that we coached an all-star game together, room together, and just become friends from that, and a good coach. And then we're able to get Chris Oliver, the next one, who's Georgetown's head coach. He spoke last year, and he spoke about a few of his quick games and stuff last year. So he's talking about creating an efficient offense. But Chris Oliver's done a great job here.
To Phil Hawkins, Coach. Phil Hawkins on at 410.
Yes, Phil Hawkins. He's moved around some, and he took over a Bryan Station school, it's a 6A school in Lexington, and it wasn't on its best, doing its best, but he's really turned that around. They played in the semifinals last year. We actually played them in the second game of the season. They started out 0-3 and then ended up making to the semifinals. So what a great job he's done there, rebuilding and growing the program is what he's speaking on. Todd Adler is a guy who's over in Logan County. He's a person that started off, he was the middle school coach and really just built that program up and made the high school. And he does a great job in what he's doing over there, and really brought some excitement to Logan County. We played them in the semifinals last year. Then I think they made it to the region finals or we played them the year before in 21, and then they made it to the region finals this year. So he's done a great job. And then Jacob Bronowski, he's going to be he's at Miami of Ohio. And he come down here recruiting some, and just kind of talked to him and reached out, and he's going to speak on special teams. So we tried to really reach some program building, some offense, some defense. Coach McKee speaking about the wing tee. So we're different styles of things, what we want to do, and then also get some special teams. Dave Nurnberg is he's been at some private schools. He's been in Georgia. He was the defensive coordinator of one of our rivals that we played, and he doing, what's in right now is a 3-high safety look, and he's speaking over the 3-high safety, the broken stack defense, and they were very successful. They beat us in the regular season, and we knocked them out in the playoffs. So a tough team. Joe Chirico, he played at Marshall, is a great coach. He won a state championship at Paintsville in 1A school over in Eastern Kentucky. Now he's moved up to GRC. He does a great job. He played defensive back at Marshall, and he's going to speak over DB play. And then Adrian Morton's kind of an up-and-comer, been around, was from Lexington, and now he's at Ballard. He's going to be speaking over their defensive scheme and defensive fronts, but he's a guy who's really came up and built that program up, and going to be a great speaker for us, one of my good buddies.
And then Mark Stoops, what a huge name, man. That is awesome.
Yeah, we actually had a player. We talked about why we win. We had a lot of good players, and we had one player signed with the University of Kentucky and committed early, so kind of gave us that. But Mark Stoops and his staff have done a great job. The big dog, Vince Morrow, they really do a great job recruiting our state, and just kind of speaking for them. I think they're known all over the state, and obviously brought UK football to some heights that people probably never thought it could ever get to. So props to him. And, he's all about, I asked him, hey, Coach, would you speak? Excuse me. He said, I'd love to. I'll try to make it fit. And we were able to get him on Friday night. I feel like that's going to be a great speaker for us. Then that Saturday morning, we've got the panel, the Q&A session with the state championship coaches, which is pretty neat. Chris McNamee, Noel Rash, he just retired, one of the best coaches that Beechwood's ever had. Actually speaking to him this morning. Then Hunter Cantwell, he played at Paducah Tillman, a big school over in Western Kentucky, and then played at Louisville, played some in the NFL. They won it in 3A this year. I'm going to be there too. Nate McPeak is a guy who played at Marshall, and one of the best. He started off at Frederick Douglass, and they won a state. They were in the finals last year, and then won it this year. So they've really won a whole lot. And then Keegan Kendrick actually went to high school at Boyle County High School, and their school is his first year being a head coach, and they won the 6A state championship. So, having him, he's obviously a quality football coach. Going on down Saturday morning after our panel, got Hunter Cantwell. Just talked about him, what he does. They do a great job on offense. He's a former quarterback, does a good job. And then Chris Seabolt, Bowling Green's offensive coordinator. He does their O-line too, but they were the state runner-ups in 5A. We actually played them, and they do an outstanding job. It's one of the bigger names, bigger high schools in the state of Kentucky. You always hear about Bowling Green, won many state championships there. And then the next one, special to me, is Mike Holcomb. He was my high school coach. He's won 3 state championships, been a runner-up, really started the passing game around. He's one of the guys he's had 2 4,000-yard passers. He's had a 3,000-yard rusher as a coach. So he's been around it all. And he's talking about building an offense around your personnel. And I think, that's something that, everybody talks about it. We're in high school, you get what you get, and he does a great job of making what he's got better. Our next one, we're always talking about football. It's blocking and tackling, and everybody's wondering about how to tackle. Andrew Ryland, he's on, he's big on Twitter, does a lot of the rugby tackling and all that. He's going to come down and speak with us. He's talking about tackling systems, cues, and KPIs. Not sure what KPI means yet, but we'll figure it out when we get there. Him speaking, but he does a great job over our tackling. Jeffrey Poe is Frederick Douglass. They won the state championship 5A. He's their defensive coordinator, and I don't know how many people scored on them this year. Touchdowns on their first unit. What they did, they had a really good defense. Marvin Danzler, he's at Louisville Central. That's we beat them out in the semifinals this year, but he's been in Oklahoma. He's been at Louisiana, and then he's won everywhere he's been. And now he's up at Louisville Central. They won a state championship. I was actually on the opposing team in 2018. We lost by 1 point. He come out with a win. So a really good football coach and does a great job with his kids. He's going to be talking about the 3-3-5 gap pressure. Keegan Kendrick, we just talked about him, first-year head coach, won a state championship, does a great job on the offense. He's going to be talking about stick and shallow. Chris McNamee, he's at Pikeville High School. I think they've won 3 out of the last 4 years state championships in 1A. And if you want to see a facility, you can check them out on Twitter. They've probably got one of the nicest facilities for a 1A school, any A school in the state of Kentucky, with the indoor that they have. It's actually named after him. So he's done a great job there. Jay Fallon is Owensboro High School. That's up near Indiana. He's going to be talking about creating a defensive gap scheme or game plan. He's another guy that I've met just coaching some all-star games and able to meet him. He does a great job. They've been in the semifinals, 2 or 3 times out of the last 3 or 4 years. So they've been in the thick of it. Walt Wells, EKU's head coach. I think he's won the A-Sun. They're in the A-Sun conference. He's the A-Sun coach of the year the past 2 years. So he was also in the news. He had a heart attack and he came back and was able to coach this year and win the A-Sun coach of the year. So one of my really good friends, you talk about a guy who was the O-line coach when I was at Western and always somebody that's kept in touch. He's been Tennessee's offensive line coach. He's been all over and just been a great friend of mine and very thankful to get to know him and how good he's been to me. Saturday PM, Michael Salmons is at Raceland. They played in the 1A state championship game, another small school, and they've got some great facilities too, but working from the ground up. Tony Schiffman, he's big on Twitter about the O-line coach, the Hog Football Chat. He's going to come over and he's going to speak 2 back-to-back clinics for us over Penn and Pool. So we're thankful to be able to get him. Noel Rash at Beechwood High School up in Northern Kentucky. They've won the past 2A state championships. He's back-to-back at Beechwood. He does a great job on defense. I've coached against him. Just a competitor, just a great coach and very informative. He'll do a great job. And then Jeremy Hawkins, EKU's defensive line coach. He's going to be talking over defensive line play. He spoke at the AFCA clinics. He's been all over speaking. Very, very quality coach, good speaker. And then Ryan Wallace, the University of Louisville. He was at Purdue. He was at Austin Peay. He played at Bowling Green High School. His dad is a Hall of Fame coach here. He was at St. X and was at Bowling Green, and then now he's at St. X. Great coach. And then his son spoke with us last year. He was at Purdue, and he came and spoke over tight end play, and he does a great job. And then finishing up, we have Nate McPeak, played offensive line at Marshall. Coach's offensive line does an outstanding job. He spoke at a lot of clinics. He was at the AFCA clinic also speaking. Does a great job. And then we got Andrew Ryland again. And then Eric Losey. He was the center for me when I was at Western Kentucky. Now he's the EKU O-line coach. So, just good to have a good friend. Does a great job there. Recruiter, has been at Southern Miss. He was a GA at Florida State with Rick Trickett. So he's been around some of the best ones. And he's going to be doing our O-line there. And then we finished with Jeff Brohm.
Man.
So we feel like it's a quality clinic. I know I spoke fast there, but we've got a lot of quality speakers. We've got over 220 some signed up. Right now we had about 150 last year. So we're up on that, but we'd love to get 300.
Man, I think you will, Coach. That I didn't even know when I asked you to come on how impressive of a clinic it was, or that you had won 3 state championships.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes me think of, I had a quarterback coach on and he's talking. He goes, I had a guy that some of y'all might know. And I'm thinking, well, this guy's getting ready to name. He probably played college football he goes, Caleb Williams. I was like, dude, I'm an idiot. I didn't know who you were or you coach Caleb Williams, but Man, Coach, I'm just so glad I'm a high school coach in Richmond, Virginia at LC Bird High School, and I've been hooked up with the Texas high school football coaches. I've been hooked up with the Alabama high school football coaches, and now I'm hooked up with the Kentucky high school football coaches, and I have a lot of respect for the state of Kentucky and the football that y'all play there. And, man, if I could get out there, I would. But I am recommending everybody, if you are in a state bordering Kentucky, you need to be going to this clinic. So, Coach, what else would you like to say to anybody that may be watching on how to sign up or anything like that, Coach? Anything you want to say to the younger coaches that's on your heart?
You can find us on Twitter, the Commonwealth Coaches Clinic. We've got on that. There's a Google form to sign up, so you can do that. And that's something when we speak with younger coaches. And I started off when I was young, got out of college, and doing this was get out, go to these clinics and meet people. Don't be afraid. I said Twitter is a great weapon. Obviously, 30 minutes ago, you followed it and said, hey, you want to come on the podcast? I would love to. That just getting out and meet different people. Coach the All-Star games if you get opportunity. Don't go. There's never a wrong question. I've been blessed. We go on vacations, and my family's all about football, and I've went to places and I went and checked people out. Went to Dallas a couple times. I went and watched Allen High School practice a few times. Chris Ross at Lovejoy was able to watch them practice and do this and be around different coaches, see how they do things. Went to Louisiana a couple times. Went and seen Edna Carr practice and work out. Just by reaching out on Twitter, reaching out on something. Hey, Coach, you care if I come by and check you all out? And just been very blessed. I think that's how you get better, is going out and meet new people. And, if you get one thing out of it, it was worth your time. And all the clinics that I've ever been to or went and visited somebody, if there's one thing I could see that could help my program, I felt like the trip was worthwhile and what you can do to and it's a grind. It's every day. You got to keep working towards the next one.
What do y'all hang y'all's hat on in y'all's program? Like,
our thing, what we do, it's a lot of hard work. I said, our kids, we start January the 4th, and our school starts at 8:05. We start, we're blessed that our school system, they give us a first period weightlifting class. School starts at 8:05. Our kids are in here at 6:45 in the morning. And we start at 6:45, and they get done we get done at 8:45. They take a shower and go to their next class. So, and we do that every day. Every day we're in school, we're 5 days a week, and we're able to get after it. And we call that our Rebel Boot Camp. Our motto, our mascots are Rebels. So that's our Rebel Boot Camp. And we feel like that's where we build our team at that point. And we've got just a lot of hard working, obviously very talented players, but they buy in each other. It's all about the team. And we've got very good coaches that help us, and just got a lot of great community support.
That's awesome, man. So 11 state championships. How many years does that span?
Since 1999. So you think about it. It's it's been a powerhouse. Yes.
So what school did it break off from? I mean,
it's always been here. It was one of those things. They weren't very
good. So they won their first one in 1999.
Yes.
But the school's been around longer. How long has the school
been there?
The
school's been around in the 60s.
Okay. I was like thinking the school started in 1999 and y'all won 11 state championships.
Yes.
Good God, but that's still a lot. I mean,
yeah,
11 state championships, that's a lot, man. But since 99.
Yeah,
so what was the turning point in that program?
I think Coach Smith, he was Chuck Smith was a coach here. They brought him in the early 90s, and he really got it turned around. He's won they won 5 in a row. So they won their first one, and then they won it 99, 2000, 01, 2, 3, and then I think they were runner up in 2004. So they won 5 in a row, and then then he took the runner up in 04. Then he went to UK as an assistant coach with Joker Phillips. And then they won it in 2009 and 2010 with Larry French, who's another great coach in the state of Kentucky, an older coach, has been around. And then he came back. Coach Chuck Smith came back in 2014 And then they actually, in 2017, they won it again. I was actually the opposing coach in 2017 in the finals. I was at Corbin High School. And then Corbin High School played them in 18, and we beat them in 18. And and then I was in the finals, and we got beat by 1 point to Louisville Central, that Coach Stansler speaking at the clinic. And then in 19, they were state runner-ups. They lost by 1 point in the finals. And then Coach Smith retired. And then I took the job, and we won 3 in a row.
Wow. Is Chuck Smith, is he still living?
Yes, Chuck Smith's still living. His son, actually, it's a small world. His son was my backup quarterback at Western Kentucky. And he's actually at South Warren High School. And I think he's won 3 state championships as a coach. And he's helping his son at South Warren.
Wow.
Which is
so
in
South
Green.
Warren, is that in Kentucky or what
state
is that?
Yes. That's in Bowling Green, Kentucky. It's
in Bowling Green.
Yeah, it's a newer school out there. I think it started around, I'm trying to think when it started, probably 2008 maybe, and they've won 3 state championships since 2008. So they've had some really good players and really good coaches. Coach Brandon Smith's a great coach. He's a defensive guy. He played quarterback. He's a backup quarterback for me at Western, but just another competitor. So they're family, and they've got some really good coaches there.
Yeah, so I want you to hook me up with Chuck Smith because I want to get him on the podcast.
I will.
I would love to talk to him, and I'd love to get you back on after y'all's clinic, Coach.
Hey, that sounds great, man. Thanks for having us. I appreciate everything. Give us a follow on Twitter. We've got a couple ones at Coach Haddix 11. Is one of them. I think I followed you too after you followed.
Yeah, I'll tag you. I'll tag you and everything when I put this video out.
Okay, sounds good, man. I appreciate
you, brother. Good luck with the clinic, man.
Hey, thank you. Come visit.
I'm impressed with you. Yes, sir.
See you, man.
Thank you, brother.